Okay, it says I'm live. Let me move this camera a little bit. Oops. Let it reflect so I can see where I'm at here. Okay. And it says I'm live. Hopefully I'll get something going here. Try to enjoy this beautiful Sunday morning over here in the Carolinas. Actually, it's cloudy and a little bit rainy, but maybe we'll get something started here in just a few minutes and see if we can get some people in here and everything else. Meanwhile, I'll take me a little drink of my Sprite. And try to get my camera and my computer situated here so I can be on the same plane with the camera and the computer. As you saw in the title, my wife Barbara and I, we celebrated our anniversary yesterday, 52 years together. And I'm very, very proud that I made 52 years. Very proud to still be kicking. It's what I'm very proud to be. With a couple of medical setbacks and everything I've had in the past couple of years and everything. And, some of y'all probably saw my video that I put out kind of explaining things, explaining how my health issues are. And I hope y'all understand that. I've with my quadruple bypass back in 2020, it's changed a lot in my life. I'm able to get around, but not as good. I get exhausted real quick because that blockage came back. One blockage on one of the veins came back or reblocked or whatever you want to say. So I don't breathe as good as I was breathing, and that does make a difference. Now let's see, is my chat room started yet? I can't seem to get anything started here. Let's see. Let me test it out here. There it comes up. I'm just want to make sure everything's rocking and rolling. I'm up here at the shop where I get the best signal. Hey, Jamie. Glad to see you in here this morning. Yeah, I'm trying to get things rocking and rolling this morning, and hopefully the picture and the sound quality is good. Last week I was down at the house and it's not quite as good. And of course, my old hair is not cooperating either. Oh, good signal and good sound. That's great. I'm trying to give the best video presentation that I can. I think that's always important. I mean, nobody wants to come on and see something buffering and jittery and the sound quality is not good and stuff like that. So I try to at least get that. And with the signal I have up here, it's pretty good. I've got the Spectrum up here at the shop, and it does a pretty good job. But down at the house, I got the wireless Verizon, and it's good sometimes and it's bad sometimes. It just really intermittent and everything on the signal on it. So I like to come up here where the signal's pretty good. And I'm using the new camera setup with since I've got the latest update on my software with the MacBook and everything, I'm able to use my iPhone camera as a webcam as opposed to the webcam that comes with the MacBook, because the one that comes with the MacBook is pretty crappy. But they've got this new software now that really enhances that. And so I'm actually shooting video through my iPhone 13, which has a great camera, and it comes back down here to my laptop and everything. It uses my lap and does it wirelessly. It's great technology. Now it's real funky. Every once in a while it won't work just right on like YouTube, but it'll work on the other programs. So it's sort of intermittent sometimes even with that. Hey, Joey, you doing pretty good, Joey? How's the new setup and everything going with your trailer park? 31. Okay, is that the temperature? 31 degrees. Temperature wise down here, I think it was 55 when I left the house. So it's kind of cool, but it's not bad. Everything's going good. Well, that's great. My little nose is itchy, but yeah, I hope y'all can get things straightened out up there in New York, Joey. I mean, I know it's going to be hard politically, but maybe in the next couple of weeks, maybe old Lee will throw a whooping on that lady governor up there. I don't know if he will or won't. I mean, yeah, unfortunately, New York City has got dyed in the wool Democrats up there, and they I don't know what they're going to do. Oh God, Chuck has needed to go a long time ago, but y'all are stuck with him. It looks like. Is he even running for re-election this time? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he's up for Senate again or not. But yeah, he needs to go. That's for sure. Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing. New York City rules the whole state. It seems like, and whatever New York City wants, the whole state has to put up with. And you know that's a tough situation to be in, because the state has a lot of diversity and everything, a lot of people with different ideas, but it all culturally goes right down to whatever New York City wants. Oh, yeah, AOC. Boy, AOC, her constituents, I don't know if they're going to come out and vote against her, but boy, she had that one town hall and they were booing her and all kind of stuff. And, you know, maybe it'll filter through. I don't know how strong of a Republican candidate they got against her. But there again, she's a little bit cocky on that. They were up there booing her and doing stuff, and she was up there dancing with it at the same time. I thought she was kind of crazy, but that's the way it is. How is it in your area, Walter? Are you going to be able to change things up there? I know we're going to try to keep North Carolina as a red state if we can. We got the senator's race that I'm always concerned about that. Yeah, Western New York's pretty red, but if there were just more populace up there, it would help. But yeah, got to vote red. I think that's. I think next week I'm gonna wear a red shirt on my show. Remind everybody to vote red. Yeah. Yeah, I know it. I watched that debate with Whitmer. Boy, she was just lying through her teeth. I mean, she would want you to believe that she didn't shut down anything and that all you know everything is fine. There's nothing happening in Detroit or any of these big cities. I mean, she thinks everything's just super duper. Yeah, it's crazy. And you know, I'd like to see everybody. I hope there's a big red wave, and I hope it just sweeps the whole nation. Uh, I know there's some areas that it's almost impossible because of how dominant they are. Hey, Aaron, glad to see you. Yeah, glad to see you out here. Yeah, I hope my signal is a signal coming through loud and clear to everybody. Give me a thumbs up if it is. I appreciate it, and help the old video here. I guess it helps it. we try to do some things here and there to help it, and I hope everybody saw my other video that I put out the other day. I actually put together a little montage of what Barbara and I have gone through over the years, and I've got a great wife. Uh, oh, loud and clear. Okay, great, great. Yeah, yeah. I hope everybody saw my other video that I put out. Like I said earlier, was it yesterday, day before? I put it out, but it kind of explains what's going on in my life and everything. I'm, with my bypass surgery and everything. A lot of people have emailed me and chatted with me, called me, texted me, and everything else, and kind of just wanted to explain everything to everybody. I mean, I've got a great life, even though I know that I can't do what I used to do. I can't get out and run around and do a lot of things. I mean, I can still get around in the shop. I do things, and if I get tired, I'll sit down like I'm doing now. And if that's the difference. I just got to pace myself. I can get up and do some things, and I know when I overdo myself, and I'll sit down and take a rest. But uh, for somebody that for most of his 71 years has been pretty active, to slow down has been kind of tough. Uh, I mean, I try to stay occupied, and that's why I have all these projects like this 55 back here and a lot of things. So, it is what it is. Well, yeah, I still make some videos every once in a while. I don't make them as much as often, and but I still make them every once in a while, and that's the thing. I probably ought to try to concentrate on doing some more videos. I get some good responses out of them when I do, especially my FedEx ones. When I do the ones for FedEx, I get a lot of response out of those because it's so controversial and everything. A lot, especially right now with uh, FedEx. FedEx is having a little bit of tough time with their contractors and their small package guys, and with the inflation, trying to fight inflation and diesel prices and all this sort of stuff is tough. Even on a big company like FedEx, I mean, they have to make sure that their budget's right and that they get everything out there so they don't go bankrupt trying to do everything. And you know and everybody wants everything done as cheaply as possible. So that's the other thing. I mean, everybody wants free shipping, and you know, when you do things like that, the budget kind of gets all screwed up and everything. So, um, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that on a daily basis. I mean, because I'm proud to have been a FedEx line haul contractor. It served me well for 34 years and made me a great living. Uh, and selling it, I made a good profit selling it. So I can't complain there. Uh, I mean, I'm still basically living the high life, I guess you might say, because of that. I've got a good income coming in even to this day, and hopefully will for years to come because of FedEx. And uh, so I'm fortunate in that respect. I mean, a lot of people are not as fortunate as I have been, and so I'm very grateful for that. Uh, I will tell you though, I played the lotto last night, and believe it or not, guys, I had all five numbers and the Powerball, but I just didn't have them all on the same line. I believe it's. I told my wife, I said, I believe that's the very first time that I've had every single number on the Powerball list, but like I said, they didn't line up. So I am not the billionaire. Nobody is. Nobody won it last night. It's up to $1 billion. I think I could. I think I could handle that if I won that. But of course, I always hear the naysayers about that, and they go, said there ain't no use playing that. Said you're not going to win. And I said, well, you know, one thing for certain, I've never heard where anybody has won the Powerball that didn't play the Powerball. I never heard somebody down the street go, dadgummit said they knocked on my door and said I won this Powerball, and I didn't even buy a ticket. So you have to buy a ticket. You don't have to buy a bunch of them. I never buy a whole bunch. I buy a few here and there. And when it gets up really high, I probably exceed more than I usually do. But it's fun to play. And if you take it leisurely and go, hey, I'm going to give it a try. And if I win, I win. If I don't, I don't. So, it's one of those things. It's one of those things. But, it was fun. It's always, I think it's in the back of everybody's mind. When you play the Powerball, it's always in the back of your mind, what would I do with it if I won the Powerball? And fortunately for us in this area, not North Carolina, but South Carolina, you can buy a ticket and be anonymous. And that's a great thing. I wish North Carolina had it that way. I would buy all my tickets in North Carolina if they did that. But I'm almost skeptical. That's a hard word to say. Skeptical. Have you ever had one of those words that it's just hard to say? That's one of them that's hard to say right there. But I would be scared to have my name known if I did win the Powerball. I mean, think about it. It could ruin your life. I mean, you think about all the people that would think that you owe them something. Think about all the people that, your security would be worse because people would be coming after you thinking that you had it at your house or something. And I'd be scared for my children and everything else because you never know what lunatic out there would want to kidnap somebody for ransom or junk like that. I mean, there's a lot of different things to think about if a person were to ever win it. Now, granted, I'll take the money, but I would like to have it so nobody would know that I had the money. So if I ever win it, you won't know anything different about me because I wouldn't change things. So that's a crazy thing. Well, if they ever let me order it, I will, Joey. I'm on the list to order that thing. I paid my money a year and a half ago. I believe it was a year and a half, almost 2 years ago that I put my name. I had to give them $100 to get on the list to be able to order it. So yeah, I'm on the list to order it. And, of course I've been debating back and forth. Do I want to get it? Because they keep going up on it. As soon as the government gave everybody an incentive of about $7,000 or $8,000 for EVs, what did they do? The manufacturers jumped the price $7,000 or $8,000, every one of them. So I mean, that was just a rip. Oh no, I'm not turning blue. No, I don't turn blue. I got plenty of diesel equipment around here, plenty. And but I'm not a. I love technology is what I like. I always have. I mean, just like I was saying earlier. Hey, Scott. Well, the retired FedEx man's doing pretty good. As you see, I'm proudly wearing my FedEx shirt this morning, and it's comfortable too. That's another reason I like it. But no, I've always liked technology from the word go. I was an early adopter of home computers. I mean, I'll give you, for instance, and I've told this story before, if anybody's heard it. My wife and I were going through Sears when we were first married, and we had, our two small children. My son was probably 5, 6, 7 years old, something like that. And my daughter about 8 or 9. And she wanted to get a video game. And they had this little game called Pong. And they had a video console. And all it was just knocking this little thing back and forth. And I'd already been, I always read Popular Mechanics and things like that. So I told her, I said, no, I don't want to get that. She says, well, I think the kids will like a video game. I said, no, what we're going to get is a computer. And Radio Shack had out the small color computers at that time. I said, we can get this. It's about twice what this little game is, but they can use it and learn to program and everything else. And that's what we got. We got that computer instead. And this was in the 70s. And my son, I always challenged him, and I challenged him to learn how to program on that computer. And I would buy him games for it if he would learn to program a little bit. And he did really, really good. He even won a contest, a nationwide contest with the Color Computer magazine. And they printed his program that he had written in the magazine. And he won some gifts and all kind of stuff, and wasn't anything big monetarily. But I was tickled to death because he won a contest for a nationwide program, and I think my wife has that somewhere down at the house. But I mean, I was tickled to death that he got published in a nationwide magazine when he was, I want to say he was about 8 or 9 years old, something like that at the time. And it went from there. I mean, he stayed busy on the computers. We started building computers. And then when PCs came about, we started building more and more computers to sell. And they were expensive down there, even when you bought the parts back then. They were still expensive. But we progressed with that. And there was a learning curve for him. I mean, he was able to learn at an early age how to do these things. And he was interested in it, and he got better at it all the time. And it always gave him an incentive to do better. And then, like I told people, he went on to, he was a real good student in high school, and he went on to major in electrical engineering or electronics engineering, computer engineering at NC State, and got his electrical degree. And he's been for the past 26 years, 27 years, he's been an electrical engineer, and I'm very, very proud of him. Yeah, it's 20. See, he graduated college in 90. He got a job in 95. So from 95 to 2022. So yeah, he's done real well for himself, and I'm real proud of him. And then we got our next generation, my grandson. He's doing good, and he's not as interested in this kind of thing, but he's real good at some of the stuff. And I've got him helping me with my CAD machine and my plasma cutter that I have over here, and that sort of stuff. So it's really, really neat. Yeah, yeah, Scott, that was a TRS-80 color computer. TRS-80 color computer is the one I started this with. Yeah, Tandy Computer. Yeah, Tandy Computer Radio Shack. I wish Radio Shack was still in business. I really hate that. That's of all companies that went out of business. I really hate that one because they had, I mean, even to this day, they had little small items that I would have loved to just been able to go to my local Radio Shack and get. I mean, they carried all kind of, I mean, if you needed a diode or a capacitor or just any kind of thing, like really neat store. And I hate out of any store that we have lost in the past 20 years. That's the main one that I really hate that went out of business was Radio Shack because it was a great show. I mean, a store, not show, a great store, and it just it hurts me that one went out because I mean it was like a convenience store to nerds, you might say. I mean, if you needed something, an antenna wire or something with a radio or something, an antenna or just all kinds of stuff like that, and a lot of stuff that the average man needed, but they their business model went to crap. Oh, Yeah. Now I still got plenty of old computers in this building here. I need to clean some of it out and sell. I've been tempted at selling some of this stuff on eBay. Just never have gotten around to it. But one of these days, I'll get around to doing some of that because I have plenty of it from my old days of collecting stuff like that. I have plenty of old computers and computer parts and keyboards and memory and all kind of different things that I have that is stored away in this front room over here. Yeah, I know it, and and that's the cool thing about it. You can actually look at stuff at Radio Shack. Now you can get a lot of this same stuff at Amazon. Of course, then you have to have it. It's going to be shipped to you, and just a lot of different things. And you don't get to look at it. I mean, I like to look and get my hands on some of this stuff sometimes. I mean, because you can compare, say, well, do I want this or do I want that? Uh, so it's different. It's different to look at that and say, uh, well, I mean, there's a lot to be said about walk-in stores. I mean, of course, you still have Office Depot and Office Max, but they're not the same as Radio Shack. I wish they did. I mean, they have a little bit of variety of stuff here and there, but uh, nothing what Radio Shack had. I mean, Radio Shack to me was a perfect nerd store, and it was fun to go to. Boy, my hair's sticking out. My old hair, what little bit I have of it, stick going all wild this morning. Well, I never did have any of the Commodores. Now the Commodores were. Uh, so who made Commodore? Or was it Commodore itself? I can't remember. But then, that Michael Dell got started in the early '80s and everything with the Dell computers, and he had there was a couple different ones. And then what was the one with the cows on them? Gateway. That's what it was. Gateway computers. They had the cow symbol on them for some reason or other. I don't know if they were started in the Midwest or whatever. And then compact computers, you don't see them anymore hardly. And it was compact, Dell, Gateway, um, different ones. Oh, it's a short time looking back, Chris. I can tell you that it is a short time looking back. I mean, I have a beautiful wife. Uh, in my opinion, I mean, she was the cutest girl I'd ever seen when I was young. I mean, I just fell in love with my wife early on, real quick. Hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's just, yeah, I remember, like I said, all those different computers, but my initial one, like I said, was the old TRS-80 uh, color computer. That was the very first one that I got for my son. Well, my son and daughter, but my son, he took it over. He's the one that took off and took over on it. My daughter, she'd play the games a little bit, and she got started later on computers. But yeah, my son initially. Wow, wow, that's something. And people like that. People like that stuff. The old mint computers, and I mean, seriously, I've got some keyboards that I need to clean up that I have got up here that I have checked on eBay, and they're going for good money. They're the old wired in computer, and a lot of people are taking them and just rewiring them and making them to USB computers. But they got the better feel for the keyboard than than the new ones, and people like that for some reason. And they're bringing decent money, and I got a couple hundred of them probably. Uh, I didn't play. Now, see that's the thing on it, Chris. I really didn't get a game console. We stuck to the TRS color computer, and I had the computer console, and then we actually started building computer and computer games. The actual consoles I never really got into. Now my son has got them. Him and his son, and my grandson. They've got all the Xbox and all kind of stuff like that. But I never got into the game consoles as much because I really didn't. For one reason, I didn't want to tie it up my TV, and the other reason, I mean, I built the computers big enough that my son was satisfied with the computer consoles. $400. Wow. Yeah, that's those lifts back there. Those are the Stericone lifts. Budget tools. I mean, yeah, that's some real good lifts. They'll lift a tractor trailer truck. Those things go up to 14,000 pounds a piece. So yeah, I can lift a tractor trailer truck with it. Yeah, yeah. Now see, that's one reason I like my parts store and everything. And of course, I still carry a lot of bolts and nuts and everything over at my other shop. I used to have a manual. I used to have a distributor that came by and redid all my bolts and nuts and everything back when I had all the trucks because we were forever always going through that. And I still like having that. And I've collected those and bought them at auctions and everything, bolt bins and stuff like that. So I'm a junkie for that kind of stuff too. Yeah, well, you could do it. I put a mini tandem tractor trailer truck on those lifts, and they're great. I mean, we can lift, like I said, we can lift tractor trailer trucks. With the big trucks, we usually did it at the other shop because I have a little more clearance, roof clearance than I do in this one. I got 17 feet here, but time you put a tractor trailer and start lifting it up, you're still limited. I got about 20 feet over there, I think. So I used to do them over there more than I did here. But yeah, those, of course, I can take them outside. That's the beauty of those. Those are portable. I mean, they got a huge lithium battery uh, in all four of them, and they are, we charge them up and they lift up, and it's fantastic what they'll do. Yeah. Well, I like going to the Apple store, but boy, that's an expensive store, isn't it? I say that because I'm sitting here with Apple products right in front of me. I've got a couple, two or three MacBook Pros, and I'm using one of the later MacBook Pros right now. I mean, I'm a junkie for Apple computers now. I'll tell you that. Used to be that I never wanted Apple because I didn't like their operating system and everything else. But in the past 15, 20 years, I've been almost exclusively Apple because they changed the operating system when they changed it to OS 10 and everything. From there on, they've sold me on it. It's been good, and uh, I don't want to go back to Windows because these don't crash on me. Windows computers crash all the time. I've got a Windows computer over there with the plasma cutter because you still have a lot of programs that are only Windows. So I've got that with my plasma cutter, and I have a couple other Windows computers, but primarily I'm Mac for my personal use and everything. I love a Mac computer. Oh yeah, I've got CarPlay in my BMW and CarPlay in my F-150. So yeah, I got Apple CarPlay, and plus I've got the Android version too. So I can flip flop either way. I can go to Android, their CarPlay version, or Apple CarPlay. Apple CarPlay, I'd like to see them improve it a little bit. There's some things that Android has that's better than Apple, and it's always, of course, it's good to have Android and Apple, and I love the competition within the computer space and everything. So I'm all into that. I love it. You can't talk. We were talking about green and everything a while ago. I'm for technology improving. I'm not for people running us down and say we got to do this. I mean, we got a bunch of idiots out there right now that want to shove the Green New Deal on us. And no, I'm not for that. I'm for that as it gradually gets into our society, as it gradually innovates. I love innovation, but I don't want innovation to take us over, or well, it's really not the innovation taking us over. It's the crazy green deal people that think, well, we're just going to shut down all this fossil fuel. Hey, let them work together. I mean, why do people think these things can't work in unison with each other is beyond me. Let's take this technology, clean up the diesel or all this other stuff with the technology, but we still need to use it. We still need the plastics. We still need the diesel and the petroleum products to make the plastics that we all use every single day that makes our green products. So it's crazy. And but these people that want to shut things down are idiots. I mean, our idiot president who says, I'm on the first day when I get in, I'm going to shut down that pipeline. And that's what he did. And now we're all suffering because of it. Now he wants to backtrack and say, well, it's all these people gouging the prices. Well, no, you idiot, you shut their supply down. When you shut somebody's supply down, yeah, their demand's going to go up. And that's how idiotic we've got right now. So, it's crazy. I mean, like I said, I love technology, but I hate the idiots that are running the government, because we have, and we got idiots on both sides, but we got more on the blue side, I'm afraid, right now. I mean, they are far outweigh any idiots we have on the red side. That's for sure. Yeah, he kept his word on it, but that word is coming back to bite him in the ass. I mean, shutting down. I mean, just the start of that, and stopping the fracking and stopping the drilling on government lands. I mean, people don't realize he's killing us for years. He's doing years worth of damage in just a few days and a few months he's been in. I mean, he's done years worth of damage right there. That will take. I mean, it's sort of like a train. It's hard to get that train stopped, but when you stop it, it's hard to start that train back up and get it going fast again. So even if we turn the switch back on tomorrow, it's going to take a while to get all this stuff going again. And you've got, this deal of trying to change the way banks are loaning money to these oil companies, and people drilling and things, and people fracking. And, they're trying to make them like a pariah out there. And that is the stupidest thing that they could ever do. And you got that, like, his Blackwater Investments is the most evil company out there. They try to control all kind of governments and everything else by the way they want to do stuff. They're the ones that help mess up Twitter, because they were one of the large investors in Twitter. I'm glad Elon Musk has gone in there and cleaned that up and taken that over, and hopefully that'll be straightened out. But that's not as important as some of this fuel stuff we got going on. I mean, the fuel situation is really, really bad, because if we can't, I mean, we're down to 25 days supply of diesel fuel. 25 days in the nation. Now, we should have a stockpile of 3 months or something, but instead we're down to 25 days supply. That means we're at the capacity. If anything happens at a refinery or something, we could be shut down for, a week or two. You're talking about running, the fuel could go out the roof. We could be paying $10 a gallon just like that. I mean, that's how volatile we are right now. And because of the fact that we don't have, you got Biden who's gotten in there and tried to get apolitical against Saudi Arabia, and he's pissed them off. He pissed them off as soon as he was coming in on some of his aligning himself with the people that says, "Oh, you can't do this with Saudi Arabia because they're bad people." But now when we need their help, we can't get it because, I mean, you tell somebody that they're a pariah and that they're bad people, you can't go back the next week and go, hey, good buddy, how about loaning me some money? How about loaning me some fuel? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And that's where the position we have found ourselves in right now is the fact that Biden has let the United States get their ass kicked in so many parts of the world that we're going to be in tough shape if something bad happens out there. And I don't know. It's tough. Yeah. I mean, yeah. 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 You're not going to tell this. First off, the people don't realize we're not culturally the same as Saudi Arabia. They have been living their life culturally their way for thousands of years. Thousands. We're not, as a nation, here we are. Our nation is just a couple of 100 years old. Think about it. The Saudis have been doing what they're doing for thousands of years. I mean, they have been living their religion and their way of life thousands of years, and here we are. We're the new boy on the block in so many ways, just being in existence. The United States being in existence for just 300 and something years. I mean, we're the new guys on the block. Now, no doubt we are a dominant nation because of our size and our strength and everything else. But if we exert, we cannot exert our power and say, well, you're going to have to change your ways. These people ain't changing their ways, but because we want them to, they're just not going to do it. They've lived that way for thousands of years. They're going to continue to do it for thousands of years. And, we've got to live with it. Do I think Trump will run again? My opinion is I hope he doesn't. Granted, now I'm gonna tell you why I say that. Did I vote for him? I voted for him both times. Do I think he tried to do good? He did. But Trump, unfortunately, is so much of a bull in the china shop that he can't get things done. Now, what I do like is Ron DeSantis because he's got the same strength and vigor that Trump has, only he's aligned better. He can walk in the room and people will listen to him. He doesn't have the baggage that Trump has. Trump had so much baggage with all his wheelings and dealings over the years that when he started coming forward, he stepped on so many toes it was pathetic. DeSantis is like Trump, but he's polished better. He's polished. He can speak better. He can say things. I mean, had Trump not tried to insult people in a certain way, I think he would have been better. It was a good point, bad point type situation. Sometimes he'd make an insult to somebody, and you want to go, yeah, I wish other people had the nerve to done that, but then it would get him in trouble and that sort of stuff. So his bullying tactics were his biggest downfall. I mean, he wanted to bully people, and DeSantis doesn't do that. He goes by the law. He does what he can do, and he's going to do it and do it right. He just won't let people bully him, and I love that about his demeanor and everything. Tulsi Gabbard, Tulsi, I think, I don't know if she'll ever be a Republican. She's independent right now, but siding with the Republican. She's, coming to a lot of Republican rallies and stuff like that. She's a smart young girl. I'll tell you another one that's a smart lady is this Carrie Lake out in Arizona. Lord have mercy. Boy, she can eat them up, spit them out. That lady, trust me, that lady is going to be something on the national scene. I mean, there's 2 or 3 ladies that are really strong, in my opinion, right now. The governor of South Dakota, that Kristi Noem, Carrie Lake, and Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, all 3 of those are strong women, and I really like all 3 of them. And but my favorite of all 3 of them right now is probably Carrie Lake. I mean, she is a strong lady, and she comes off as good as anybody, I think, right now. And she can come back at these reporters and different people as sharp and as quick as anybody I've ever seen. So her days as a TV commentator and everything are really paying off for her because she's good at it, and she's speaking the way a lot of people want to see things happen. Yeah, well, that's the like I said, I like Trump, certain qualities of Trump. I mean, he was a good businessman, strong, got a lot of things done, but as far as polished, Ron DeSantis has got the strength of Trump, but he's polished, and he scares the hell out of the media because they know that. I mean, the man was he was a JAG attorney. He went to Harvard. Like I said, he played football, college football. He was an All-American boy, and has done well for himself. And I think they love him in Florida. I mean, literally love him in Florida. I think he's going to win the Florida governorship again this second time, hands down over Charlie Crist. And so, I think that's a shoe in right there. Now, whether or not the Trump loyalists and everything get behind Trump and push him to run again, I don't know. In my honest opinion, I would like to see him not run again and back somebody like DeSantis, and then everything would be a lot better. But I'm afraid that won't happen. I'm afraid he could tear the Republican Party apart because there's going to be a certain amount in the Republican Party that won't want Trump back, and they won't vote for him the second time, I'm afraid. So that will defeat him there. I mean, he'll do well. I mean, he'll get a majority. He could get a majority of the Republicans, but he won't get the overwhelming majority, you might say. So he's very divisive, and I don't like that about him. That's the part I don't like. Like I said, I voted for him twice, so don't think I didn't vote for him. But we got to get somebody back. We got to get somebody back like him to straighten out this oil mess and everything else and get us back on the right track. Yeah, I mean, we got a mixed up world out there with when you look at Fetterman in Pennsylvania that cannot literally talk to somebody. If you talk to him, he cannot reply without seeing what it says on a monitor. In other words, his auditory uh, receptors or whatever in his brain are not working proper. So, I mean, he can't hear the spoken word and translate it into his thought process. So that in itself is crazy. I mean, I hate the guy had a stroke. I mean, I'm not knocking that, and he's probably doing great for people that's had a stroke. But do you want somebody like that that's got to listen to everything in Congress and participate in all these panels, and then come out with something logical? I mean, he's just going to have people write it out on a piece of paper and say, "Do you like this?" or "Here's the way we want you to vote." That's all he's going to do. He's going to vote whichever way they tell him to. Oh well, $7.99. It was $2.99. That's where we're at right now. We're crazy. Everything has inflated something terrible. I mean, there's nothing in this shop that I can go replace right now. Nothing that's not more expensive. I mean, if I go buy a new air compressor or go buy a drill press or any of these things, any item that I've got in here is going to cost me more. And that's why a lot of us, I go to auctions, I buy a used product as opposed to a brand new one, and a lot of times I get a better product too. So it's crazy, uh, and fortunately for me, I'm at the end of my buying spree, I guess you might say. So I don't need a lot of things. Oh, I know it. Biden, he can't. He unless he has a teleprompter out there, he can't get anything done. Oh, I know you have to raise your labor rate. I mean, and you have to pay more for your labor when you got people working for you. You can't, you know, people are talking about, well, you're going to raise minimum wage. Why to do away with the minimum wage? Let the minimum wage fall wherever it falls. I mean, by having a minimum, it's crazy out there. We ought to just say, hey, supply and demand. I mean, they're paying $15 an hour to flip burgers right now. So, we shouldn't have to worry about a minimum wage. Let the let the wage earners, let society dictate what that's going to be. I mean, I've never worked with that many minimum wage jobs. I mean, when minimum wage was $1 an hour, I was making $3 an hour. So I wasn't making minimum wage. I was making 3 times the minimum wage. I had a job at Carolina Freight loading freight, and $3 an hour was a lot of money back then. And so I remember when my wages got up to $4 an hour, and that was union wages back in the late '60s, early '70s. And I thought that it was great. I mean, I remember when I cracked $200 a week as a gross salary. And I said, man, this is fantastic. $200 a week. I can really start saving some money now. But even then, you were fighting inflation. Price of the new car had jumped from $2,800 up to about $3,500. So everything got inflationary. I remember my very first new car that I bought a 1974 Chevy Nova Super Sport, and I paid $3,625, I believe. And I thought, oh man, how am I going to be able to pay that back? I mean, that was a ton of money for me. That was a ton of money. I think my monthly car payment, I believe, was like $160 or $70 a month. And boy, we suffered. I mean, we were like, how are we going to afford $160 a month or something like that? I forget what it was, but it was tough sledding. I mean, I was the only breadwinner in the family at the time. I was working a job at Carolina Freight, switching trucks, and I was making at that time I was probably making 450 an hour or something like that. And during that time, that's when the fuel embargo came down. I offered my job at Carolina Freight, had to go on unemployment, and had to seek some other side jobs to make ends meet. And had some tough times. During that time, I actually, we built a house in 76, the one I live in right now. And I remember when we built that house, and the payment was $400 a month. And we were scared to death then too. I mean, can I make that $400 a month house payment? And it's crazy how you look back at this and you think of the times and how tough they were. And really, those were tougher times. Uh, Although we're inflationary right now, and I hate it because now that I've actually retired and I've actually made some money, I've got some savings. I've got more money saved now than I've ever had in my life. Uh, you know, it's it bothers you because your savings gets eroded quicker than it did years ago. Uh, and so those are the things that, with inflation and all the hard times, that it's aggravating. But we have always got to strive to do better. And this is why I always try to be positive about this, that we can straighten out things, and hopefully the people will listen to people with good common sense and say, this is the way we need to do things. And I try my best to, I speak from the heart. I mean, I don't try to make up things. Uh, I tell exactly how I lived my life, how things were going for me for the past 50 something years. Well, I've been married, like I said, 52 years. I've been married. And, those things just tell you how I lived my life, and what I hope won't repeat itself. Like I said, I see we're on the cusp of maybe another fuel shortage, like we had in the when we had the fuel embargo back in the Carter days. I fear for those, and so much so because Biden is doing he's parallel what of the stupid things that Jimmy Carter did, and he's doing some of the same stupid things. And we need the new Ronald Reagan coming in. I tell you that. Whoever the new Ronald Reagan is out there, please come forward and help us out, because uh, these Biden / Jimmy Carter type days are killing us. And the crazy. I mean, I voted for Jimmy Carter. I thought, good Southern boy, he'd be smart, and he had all the. I thought some good answers about that, but Jimmy Carter took us down a rat hole, and he was a good man, but a lousy president. I mean, I think he's still a good man, but his policies sucked. I mean, you go back and look in history, and his policies sucked, and that's what we got ourselves in right now. We got, somebody might say Biden's a good person. He could be. Well, I really don't even think Biden's a good person. I mean, I think they're crooked. Uh, I mean, the Carters were not crooked like the Biden family. The Biden family is they're all about doing scheming things. I mean, Biden's brother and his son, they've schemed and made the country weak because of all their wheelings and dealings. Yeah. Well, hey, Ralph, I just saw you in there. So you and Walter and Craig, and all the guys, you know, guys, I hope you, everybody will, just try to, well, that's the thing that bothers me, Jamie. The home heating right now is going to be critical this winter. I mean, think of all the people that maybe they filled up their fuel oil tanks. Maybe they're not, but when they try to fill it up and they cannot afford it, or they fill it up and maybe they've had some credit and then they get their credit cut off because they can't pay their bill or they can only pay half the bill or whatever. There's going to be some real tough times, especially in the north, the northeast. Us down here in the south, we're not going to be hit so bad. A lot of people down here have got like heat pumps. I've got heat pumps, and then I've got gas. I got gas backup, but I've got heat pumps too, and it's going to be a different situation. Fortunately, our electrical is cheaper down here than most places in the U.S. We have Duke Power and everything. We're cheaper, but there's going to be a lot of people in the Northeast, I'm afraid, and the Midwest. They're going to have a tough time this winter, and they're predicting a strong winter this year, and they're going to wish global warming would come about because it's going to freeze some. There's more people die from cold than they do heat, and we've got all these crazy people worried about global warming. They better be worried about how cold it gets. Yeah, the senior citizens and people and I'm a senior citizen. Thank goodness I'm prepared. But there are going to be a lot of people that are my age that are not going to be prepared. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big wood burner. I mean, I've had that in the past. I used to burn some wood, but it never was efficient for my house, and it really I just didn't like to mess with the soot and the ashes and everything else. Because a lot of people have these outdoor heaters and everything, and had I been younger and building something, that might have been an alternative. But I'm not young, and I can't get out and cut down wood and do everything else like that. So I'm dependent on electricity. So I'm gonna have to stick with that. So far, so good for me on that. Now up here, we use the I mean, I think I've shown it before. Let me move my camera here a second. Up here is a burn heater. I'll walk over there. That's a clean burn heater that you can see up there, and that burns recycled oil and all that sort of stuff and all that. I'll give you a walk around the shop here a second while I'm up here. Jim's got his tray out there of his tools. He's working on our 55 in here. Let me turn on the light in here so you can see a little bit. But he's building a console. Jim's doing a great job. He's building a console for my 55, and we've got it insulated real good and soundproof. And as you see, we're getting the Diamond Tough interior on it. That's the project that we've got right now. So just to let you know a little bit of what we're doing there. Hopefully, oh yeah, smash the button for me there, guys. Give me a thumbs up if you can. Yeah, that's a waste oil furnace, Craig. It does good. although I used to have thousands of gallons of waste oil. I'm dwindling that down right now, and it's not as much as it used to be. I don't have the luxury of having all those trucks and getting the used oil and everything, basically free oil for me. And I don't have that luxury anymore. When I run out this year, I may have to convert and get me a heat pump or something up here on this one. I've got the waste oil furnaces in this shop and the other shop. Of course, we don't use the other shop. It's more for storage. I don't use it much. And then plus I have some little gas furnaces and kerosene furnaces and everything for instant heat if I need it and that sort of stuff. But fortunately for us, we don't get cold, real bad cold down here in North Carolina. I mean, it gets cold, but we don't have the days and days and days of 20-degree temperatures and or 10-degree temperatures and stuff like that. We're sort of moderate. We're you know, most of our winter is in the 30s and 40s and 50s, and you know that sort of day, those sort of days. So, you know, it's we're fortunate that you know we don't have the tough times. Yeah, well, yeah, I haven't had a camper in a long time, Craig. My wife, my wife and I, we ventured off into the camper mode several years ago. We had us a fifth wheel camper for my, and I had the F-250 with the diesel and everything. And my son has that diesel now. He bought that truck from me, but um, you know, it's one of those things. They say with campers and boats, there's two of the best days you can get. The on a camper and boat both. They kind of say the same thing. The best day you'll ever have with a camper is the day you buy it, and the second best day you ever have with a camper is the day you sell it. So that's sort of the way. That's sort of the way I am with that kind of stuff. I'm not big onto those. I mean, some people love recreational vehicles, and for those that it suits, I think it's good, and it would suit me. I like it okay. My wife does not like it. So if the wife doesn't like it, you're not going to change the outcome there. So, like, what's the old saying? If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And that holds true in our family. So if my wife says, no, I don't want to go camping, then we ain't going camping. And so that's where that comes off. And I'm happy to be that way. I mean, I'm happy to be accommodating to her because I want to make her happy. And if she's not happy, I'm not happy. So that's the way it goes. That's the way life is. And we've learned to live with each other for 52 years. And I'm gonna try to make a few more years. I wish I could make another 52 with her, but I know that's not possible. And but whatever, however many more years that I have on this earth with my wife, I'm gonna try to make it the best I can. And that being said, I'm gonna probably shut her down right now because I've been on here a little over an hour, and that's about all the time that I need to talk because the old throat gets tired. I get tired. I'm gonna try to get out and make some more videos, guy. I did one the other day. I hope y'all liked it. Kind of explained my lifestyle and my life, what I have to deal with now. So if you get a chance, go back and look at that video if you hadn't already. And it kind of I give a little bit of a synopsis of my life. And my wife is in the video too. I have Barbara and I were out walking a little bit the other day, and I have her in there, and you can kind of see my wife's demeanor. She's a sweet lady. We have a great time together, and hopefully all y'all can check that out and enjoy that too. I'll catch you around. See you guys.